Hey everyone, this is our fourth podcast episode. Uh, yours truly, Pedro here, and I'm with my co-host as always, Matt. And today we bring you a new guest, Roman RBC. I think I said it right. I'm hoping I said it right. He's a friend of ours, and he's also a big gamer. So he also plays Fortnite. So you know he's a big gamer. Today, we're going to go straight into it with talking about a few topics, mostly related to the next gen consoles and Xbox and PlayStation. So, our first topic today is Xbox has just acquired Bethesda Studios, or well, not Bethesda, but like the
big titles.
Yeah, they acquired the company that has Bethesda, and so apparently, from what I read, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So now, basically, Bethesda is part of Xbox Game Studios now, and they will be developing exclusive titles for Xbox, while some titles may come to other consoles. Apparently, from what I read. So this is like one of the biggest company purchases we've seen in entertainment world. I actually checked the other day. Bethesda was bought by was 7.5 billion. Am I right? Was
Yeah,
7 point.
yeah, that's
Correct.
right.
That's more money than Star Wars and Marvel. Like
Gee.
that's how
Yep.
Disney bought Marvel for like what 4 point something,
Yeah, it's
and also
4.
Star Wars. Yeah, that's insane. That's actually insane. So, you guys, who wants to go first? Talk about this.
Or, Roman, you can go first if you like.
Okay, Roman
Yeah.
is our guest, so let's give him the spotlight.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's kind of crazy. 7.5 billion is a shit ton. Like that's a lot of money, especially when you consider like how massive, how much money Disney spent on Marvel and Lucasfilm, however many years ago. And Jake Baldino on Twitter even said something like, seeing like $3,000 in cash is a lot. I couldn't even imagine 7.5 billion. So it's just kind of crazy to think about it, especially, Bethesda, their games, a lot of people say they're buggy and they're kind of, they have some problems with it, but I feel like it adds a little bit of authenticity to it. But for them to purchase Bethesda like this to create some exclusive titles is a big win for them, and, I'm a big PlayStation guy. Pedro, you're a big PlayStation guy. Um, it's like this is important, I feel like, just for competition's sake, because we don't know for a fact, but they've got to be releasing Elder Scrolls and Doom as cross-platform titles, because that's just a lot of money left on the table. I feel like, Bethesda won't want that. I don't even think Xbox would want that, really. Because again, I don't really know, similar to like how movies work, like with how movie theaters get the money and how studios get the money. I don't really know how it works for games, but you'd have to imagine that even if they do release games for PlayStation, that, some of the money will still be coming back into Xbox's pocket. And with those, two IPs being so massive for them, I feel like just releasing it for Xbox exclusively would be a huge loss, but they can still create their own exclusive titles and make big money there, because they got a lot of money to make back after spending 7.5 billion. So
Insane. Uh, I can go now. Um, Here's the thing. Xbox has bought a lot of studios. We know that they bought a lot of studios when it was like a couple of years ago. They bought like, I don't remember how long they bought Rare, but like they bought the Ninja Theory studio, which made Hellblade. They bought a bunch of studios, and to me, my problem with Xbox is since they bought all those studios, we haven't seen anything from them, any announcement, any new content per se. We saw kind of Hellblade 2, that's about it, but we barely seen anything about Hellblade. My question with Xbox is, and like you mentioned, they have a lot of titles that it would be a waste to just have it on Xbox and PC. Like
yeah,
to me, when I saw that they bought Bethesda, I only saw it as like new probably new IPs are coming straight to Xbox, while older already established IPs will still remain cross-platform, because there's no way they're gonna. I could see maybe Doom staying only on Xbox. For some reason, I can see that Doom staying just on Xbox and PC, but you're not gonna have only Elder Scrolls on Xbox. That's going to be a huge waste. Todd Howard wants to milk Skyrim. He needs it on PS5. You just know he needs Skyrim on the PS5, and I think that's such a big title and such a well-known IP to just have it stuck in like Xbox. They're gonna lose money with that. But even if they release it for PlayStation and apparently Switch, I guess that will probably happen. They still I don't know how. Again, like you said, I don't know how gaming works in this specific area, but they will still earn money from just having those games on PS5. So like, it's gonna benefit them in the long run. I can see Bethesda developing a few titles straight only on Xbox, but after what I've seen from their like treatment with the other studios that they bought, where most of them have just been doing nothing at all. Like they bought Rare a long time ago, and there's only like one game now coming to Xbox. I guess I don't remember the name of the game, but it was announced in the showcase. The other studios have been they haven't released anything that I can remember. Hellblade is coming, I guess, but that's like the most recent studio, and I'm pretty sure they already were developing a Hellblade when they were bought by Xbox. There's no way they weren't. Like, I'm just curious to see how this goes. And again, like I said, they spend a lot of money. Keeping it just on Xbox would kind of be a waste because it's a lot of money. It can't just be on Xbox. They probably will have it on other consoles, and even if they don't have it on consoles, they're gonna have it at least on like Switch because they have a good partnership with Switch. But yeah, it's a huge thing for gaming, but I don't think it's gonna really affect it in like a big way, other than like having one Bethesda game that's exclusive for Xbox, which probably will happen. I don't know how. They have Deathloop, and the other game I can't remember the other name. The other game that they have for PS5. Those titles are going to stay on the PS5, or are they coming to Xbox?
Yeah, no, probably. Honestly, what I think is going to be is I think like the games like well, there probably will be a remastered Skyrim because every single device.
You gotta milk it on the PS5 and Xbox One
for $75 like GTA.
Yeah.
Full price.
Yeah, like if like I think what they will do is for games like Elder Scrolls and Doom, I think they'll do timed exclusives because it's like that instant gratification. I think they're trying to make Xbox, at least for Bethesda, that like you want it right away, you get it now. That's what I think they would do, just on a hunch. But you're right. I think they'd be idiots. Like, yeah, you want the new Elder Scroll, you have to own an Xbox or a Microsoft PC. But what I'm more interested in is a little thing called Game Pass. They have EA Play. They have now a bunch of Bethesda titles. They have hundreds of other games. And there's no other service, excuse me, in gaming at least. It's not like TV shows and movies where it's like oversaturated at this point. They're the only company offering that kind of service. Like the only thing that even remotely comes close is PS Plus, but comparatively the value,
it's not good.
It's not even the same. It's not even close.
Insane.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Holy crap! You get like think about it. Someone buys an Xbox Xbox S or whatever, the discless version. They spent like a few $100, and then what is it, $10-15 a month? And they have access
and you get a massive library of games,
hundreds, and not just of like and it's cool that you get access to like the games that you would not typically hear about, but not just that, the heavy hitters, like they have access to EA Plus, which means that if EA actually continues to get their act together with Star Wars, they'll have a bunch of Star Wars games. They'll have like, I care about BioWare, so like they'll have like Dragon Age games, Mass Effect games, which are huge sellers.
People care.
Now they have Elder Scrolls, they have Doom, they have Dishonored, they have like even Rage fans, like that is
Rage
insane.
All 5 of you out there.
Yeah, go. Like that's insane to me. Like I don't think enough people in the industry, like besides like maybe like I heard Alana Pierce has been like really championing this, and she made it occur to me like that is almost mind-boggling. The value that Game Pass has now. The fact that it's like I don't even own an Xbox, but I own a gaming PC, and I'm like seriously considering getting it just because like the sheer number of games, not just like small indie games, even though those are fantastic. Like from every AAA, double A, like single like indie game that you will have access to now. Like I think in the end, Microsoft as a whole company cares way less about the Xbox console and the um more about the Game Pass, which is what I think drove this by, because now it's undisputed. There's no other service in games that comes close to the deal that you get with this. I think that's why they bought it. I think you guys are right. I think a lot of the games won't be exclusive, but I think it'll be like, yeah, but you could just spend
You can have it on Game
on
Pass.
Game Pass instead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
sorry. You go.
yeah, that's what's super interesting about Game Pass is like for a really low price you get a huge library of games, but I'm starting to wonder what their long-term model is here, is to just buy studios, and they're essentially buying games with it for their service, giving it to the gamers for low price. But I wonder how long this. I mean, it's nice to look at a library and be like, wow, I have access to all these games that I've played throughout the years. But let's say that, because Xbox, like, that's obviously the narrative, and it's been the narrative for a while, that they don't really do exclusives very well. I mean, yeah, you've got like Quantum Break and you have like Sunset Overdrive, the 15, 20 people that really enjoyed playing those. And it's like, and it's like, you have to wonder that down the line is like, is this going to be a box or a console or a service that is just like, hey, here's all the things you love. We're going to throw money at it. You're going to come back and you're going to play it with an updated controller, updated graphics on a service that is really cheap. And that sounds nice, but the long term, I have to wonder, as for the competition, is Game Pass really just the future for them? Are they going to just focus on Game Pass and not really focus on, building a library that is exclusive to their console outside of the typical Halo Gears that we see recycled every 5 to 10 years?
Honestly, I think that's exactly it. I think they're scared to say it because that'll piss off a lot of people. And I get that. I get why it would, but I think that's exactly what their plan is, because like, I mean, this is exactly what they've been doing. They've been acquiring all of these studios, like some quietly, some not so much. And they've just been adding to the pot of Game Pass again and again and again. And they don't seem to really care about exclusive. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't have delayed Halo. Like,
I mean,
honestly, we discussed in an earlier podcast that Pedro mentioned, where it's like, I think like since they hired like a completely new developer, like I think they're just rebuilding it from the ground up, and I don't think you do that if you're worried about having the best exclusives. So I think that is their long-term plan, and I think they just don't want to say it because that'll piss off a lot of their fans. But I think once their fans see it and are like, oh, wait a second, I can get all these games, I think they'll sort of die down. And whether or not it's sustainable, I mean, hey, Netflix seems to be doing okay, even though they're ridiculously in debt. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think Xbox strategy is going to be the Game Pass. There's no way. Like, I think someone asked, like PlayStation, if they're thinking of having a Game Pass similar to Xbox, something similar to Game Pass, and they said, like, no, that's not our focus. That's not what we want with our company. We have the PS Now. We're happy with the PS Now. Apparently, they're happy with that piece of whatever. They're happy with that. Like so Xbox has something that no one has. No one has matched Xbox yet on this service, this type of service. So I think they're gonna focus on this. Like, okay, so you got a PS5, and now you're gonna have all these games. You got an Xbox. If you want, you can give like $10 a month. Oh, no, it's not. It's 15, right? $15 a month.
Yeah, it's like 15.
$15 a month, you get all these games. While ourselves will have on the PlayStation side, we'll have to buy each game separately. So, for example, let's say uh, PS5 comes out in November. I want to play Miles, for example, and Demon Souls. Those are the two games I'm more like excited about. So Demon Souls here, at least in my country, is 80, while Miles Morales is 50. So I'm
Wait, it's
spending
80 euros in your
yeah, it's
country?
80 euros here in Portugal.
Oh,
I'm gonna get
It's
a
80 euros
discount
for
because I
Canadian
pre-ordered.
dollars.
I get a discount because I pre-ordered the PS5, so it's actually 65 because
Dude,
of the
it's $80
discount, but it
in
feels really
Canada.
expensive. Yeah,
You have like
no, it's really expensive. So like, if I spend
cool.
80 plus 50, that's quick maths, 130 euros. That's a lot of money. If I had Game Pass, I would just have to pay that base $15. Sure, it's for a month, but just like $15, and I can play these games for at least a month. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
as with Miles and Demon Soul, they don't look like those super lengthy games. I could easily beat those two games in 1 month. So like, it's such like to regular like players, it's so much more appealing. And like you mentioned that they have EA access or whatever it's
EA
called
Play.
on the
EA
Game
Play.
Pass. EA, sorry,
Yeah.
EA Play on the Game Pass. Don't forget, EA also has like the most famous sports games that a lot of people still play.
Right.
EA has Madden and has FIFA. I don't know, probably not there, but here in Europe, FIFA is massive. Everyone loves FIFA. Everyone plays FIFA. Like, it's one of like the biggest games. If you go look at the like top selling games of every month, FIFA is in the top 5 at least. So like, people think, hey, just for like $10, I can play the newest FIFA every month. That's big, and they probably rather spend $10 on Game Pass than spend 70 on getting just the newest FIFA game. So like, Xbox is clearly more focused on delivering a great like streaming service for games than it is focused on delivering like new games and
And I
new
think
experiences, which is what PlayStation is trying to do. And I can actually respect both, because I think both are going very different paths. So like, I don't know, like, to me, I think in the long run, as long as Xbox keeps bringing new stuff into Game Pass and keeping it like as updated as they can, I think they're going to have a very strong future. And yeah, I think that's it's a good approach. Like, they clearly can fight PlayStation when it comes to exclusives. I'm sorry, I don't want to be biased, but it's true. There's no, I've never
absolutely.
seen. I think the last like Xbox game someone told me was incredible was like Halo 1. Okay, so no, okay, Halo 1
Now,
is a
maybe
long
not
time
that
ago,
far
but it's
back.
kind of true. Like, I've some
Right.
like my friends only praise like the ones that have an Xbox say, "Oh yeah, Gears is so good." Like, okay, well, when was the last time you played Gears? Oh, it was Gears 3. When did Gears 3 come out? Like,
Yeah. No, what I'm you know what I'm really excited about in this generation is that they're so clearly doing two very different things that they like I don't think the console wars are gonna be as heated, because like last generation was all about exclusive. Like Xbox tried to do something different, and they got absolutely roasted because they presented it really badly. But I think I mean, there'll always be like console bros or whatever, but I'm really excited to like not have it be as much of a focus, because I think PlayStation they're pitching it as like, look, we're the like fine wine of gaming, right? Like, you want to drop like $80 on this like game that will change your life. You'll hate it or you'll love it. It's like The Last of Us 2. It's like, this will mark you it will be an
Masterpiece.
experience. Absolutely, I think. Then and it's like Xbox is like, hey, affordable. You want a bunch of games to like have a good time. Not that they're not. Also, there's not going to be some excellent masterpieces in those as well. But like, it's like it's like Blockbuster versus like cinema. And I kind of think that's what they're going with.
PlayStation is the Criterion Channel.
Yeah.
Xbox is a Netflix. You can have both. You can enjoy both. They're just different.
Well, because I think that's it. Because they're like, look at all these exclusives we have that you can't, get in a bundle. Like you have to spend like $80 on Miles, $80 on Demon's Souls, but it's like those games will be made to perfection, and you will like not regret it. Whereas Xbox is like, just pick and choose. I don't know, like 5 here, 7 over here, just like. And I think both are cool. Like, I think it's really cool that we have two gigantic companies doing two completely different things.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I mean, to kind of try and wrap this up and move on to the next topic or whatever. But yeah, PlayStation is kind of pushing the medium forward. Like the video game medium itself. They're going to make money, and they know they're going to make money. But when I look at something like Last of Us 2 and see something that I never thought I would see in gaming in terms of like narrative, world building, character work, and then see something like God of War, which I feel like push forward like the mechanics, narrative, character work. I mean, literally everything. It's one of the best games I've ever played. And then like for Xbox, they're definitely more business oriented. They're really focusing on bringing in money and eyes, and it's sort of more of a business strategy than a gaming strategy. At least that's how I see it, because PlayStation is really focusing on the games. Not only are you going to get some really neat independent games on our PS Plus service, which isn't trying to be like Game Pass at all. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused on like, what's PS Plus's answer? They don't have to have an answer. Their answer is like, we've got our games. You want to come to our console where all your friends are already playing, and you're going to play some really dope games, as well as, you can get EA Play on PlayStation. You can get other services on PlayStation. You won't get like anything like Game Pass, but that seems to be Microsoft's move, is like, we're going to throw a shit ton of money at a bunch of games. We're going to stack our library full with games that you've played throughout your life. You want to come back and play upgraded, better controller, stuff like that. And PlayStation is obviously more focused on pushing the video game medium forward itself. And that's not to say Xbox won't. Maybe they're going to put enough money into Bethesda to where their games aren't as buggy or don't look like they were made on like the transition between PS1 and PS2, stuff like that. But we'll just wait and see. And I'm really excited for this next generation, because like we've been saying, it is clear that they are not interested in doing the same thing as each other. And I feel like that's really important. So,
okay. So, our next topic is so we just talked about Xbox buying Bethesda, and we kind of also talked about Xbox as a whole. And now we're gonna actually go a little bit into PlayStation, because last week PlayStation had its showcase where they announced a bunch of new projects, and they also gave us a little more insight in other projects. And they also announced the actual price of the PlayStation 5 standard and digital edition, with also the release date, which is ridiculous to me that I have to wait an extra week, apparently, because I'm European. But we thought that we would talk about a little bit of the showcase and what we thought about it. And apparently, this is based on what I read. There's going to be something. PlayStation is eyeing on releasing something like shadow dropping something with the PS5 release. Apparently, they have a few titles that are kind of mysterious, and they will like announce either near the date of the PS5, because there's also a bunch of rumors there's going to be near, like, I think it's around October, there's going to be another showcase, strictly like talking about the launch titles of the PlayStation 5. And there's a rumor there's some games dropping on the day the PS5 drops. So we thought it would be fun to like not try to guess, but like give our thoughts on what those games could be or should be. So Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of guessing what it is, like, I honestly, before that announcement of like, oh, Thor, of God of War Ragnarok. I'm too much of an MCU.
Thor
show.
is in it, so you're kind of right.
That's true. Yeah. But I would have said like, oh, DLC for like the God of War, like an expansion. Yeah. But if they're just focusing on the next one, I think it'd be really anticlimactic to be like, oh, by the way, there's also some like fun side stuff that you can do. No, I don't know. I would have also said like maybe a Crash Bandicoot game, but oh, they're doing that. Crash and Clank, oh, they're doing that. It's like they've already. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, by all means, to me, like, exclusives are actually the one thing they don't need to worry about. Like, they seem to have a fair amount, so I don't really know what they would be adding. But I want to really talk about, if we're still talking about the showcase.
Yeah.
It's like, I may have a different opinion from you guys, because I saw the Miles Morales gameplay, right?
Yeah.
Or should I say the Miles Morales walking around, then cutscene, and then we show gameplay for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Which, look, I get it. It's a showcase. They wanted to show off the graphics. But like, I guess I was hoping for, and maybe I'm being really like I don't know, spoiled, but I don't know. Maybe if you're showcasing the gameplay, show more gameplay than like 30 seconds. And it looked really cool. But like when people were freaking out at the cutscene, like, oh, look at that, he's whipping the brick. Like, yeah, it looks cool, but I've seen that in almost every Spider-Man movie ever.
Yeah.
It's like, and the gameplay when it showed it, like with like it looked really awesome, because it looked really over the top. It looked like more Sunset Overdrive than Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool direction to take it, especially because you can do that with Miles' skill set, with like the electricity and the like kind of it looked like they're also taking visual inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse. Not so much is in like the comic booky style, but the color palette. So that was really cool. I just wasn't like, I was like, okay, I was only really interested in the gameplay. Everything else, I'm like, yeah, no, I again, maybe this is me being spoiled, but they're like, oh, it looks amazing. I'm like, yeah, I expect it to look amazing. Like it's a PS5 game. It's like, oh,
we've known it's going to look amazing for months.
Yeah. Like, oh, the story looks intriguing. I'm like, yeah, I expect the story to be intriguing. The Insomniac did a fantastic job with the story last time. So I don't know. Again, maybe I'm just being kind of a dick, but like, we know that.
Matt is gonna get an Xbox now.
Yeah. I don't know. That was one of my.
I didn't get a chance to watch the showcase because I was at work, and you know I caught up on all like the gameplay. Demon Souls really impressed me. There's obviously a lot of Demon Souls fans that are a little upset by that it looks too sharp. It doesn't have that sort of like eerie sort of grain to it. Same problem they had with Dark Souls Remastered. I thought the Miles Morales gameplay was Spider-Man DLC.
Yeah,
the game, it looks good. I'm gonna buy it. It's gonna be good. I like the gameplay, the story, all that stuff's gonna be fine. But yeah, I thought the showcase did exactly what it set out to do. Listen, you can just throw it's like one of those things we talk about all the time when we're anticipating trailers. Like, just throw a logo and someone saying something cool, and you're gonna get hyped. And that was God of War. Like, it was just like the fact that it was 2021 was the most
no way
exciting
they're gonna get it to 2021. That's
what
no
I'm
way.
thinking
There's
too.
no way.
Yeah,
I feel like that's obviously to generate hype, but if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Christmas 2021 release date. So I don't know. I feel like God of War before a second true sequel to Spider-Man is a little interesting, considering they came out in the same year. But if 2021 has Horizon and then a Spider-Man 2 announcement and God of War, that's a big year. That's a big year for them. But yeah, I thought the showcase was good. And then the pre-order thing, I really want to lend my voice to the pre-order thing for a second.
Go ahead.
I'm finding it kind of insane that a lot of people are saying that it's like Sony's fault. I really don't think it was. I feel like they wanted to do the pre-orders, on a set date, and obviously it was a little sooner than what Xbox had done. And we'll get to Xbox's pre-orders in a second because that happened today, and that clearly turned out to be a crapshoot as well. But
Oh, did
It comes down to the retailers. I don't think people realize. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm just acting like I know what's going on here, but there's no way that Sony okayed that. There's no doubt in my mind that like they were upset by how that pre-order launch happened, because it's like, why would they put their consumers in a scenario where they're just going to be pissed off and angry and be like, oh my God, Sony ruined everything, when it's clear that like the retailers clearly jumped the gun. Because to me, when we're refreshing the site every time, that company, that site, that's how they're generating a ton of money. So it's like, I feel like they banked on an opportunity, and I feel like the retailers is the one that put Sony in a bad position, because there's no way that Sony would be okay with that. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe you guys feel differently about that. And a lot of other people clearly do as well. But I don't know. I just thought the pre-order launch was a pre-order launch. It went exactly as I expected. I sat in Best Buy's cart thing for hours, just waiting, and I luckily got one. I got my digital console or whatever. But
Nice.
I don't know. I feel like PS5. I feel like pre-orders like that they're always going to be crazy. They're always going to be frustrating. You want the money. You have the money in your account. It's sitting there, and I feel like, obviously it happened at like different hours and different times, but that's on the retailer. That's not on Sony. So that's just how I feel.
I think you guys are gonna call me for this, but I don't care. I think the PlayStation 5 showcase was incredible. Now, I'm gonna give my reasoning for why. First of all, PlayStation could have easily focused on already announced games, but they went ahead and actually showed a bunch of new stuff. There was nothing that was like a repetition of what they showed on the first showcase, and to me, that's pretty cool. Like, I was expecting more Ratchet and Clank gameplay, because I'm
And Horizon.
I was expecting more Horizon, but I was assuming Horizon was like early development, so like I wasn't that expecting like that much. I was expecting maybe a CGI trailer, just a cinematic trailer. I wasn't expecting like gameplay, but I was expecting more Ratchet, because Ratchet seems pretty much done. And they even said Ratchet and Clank will come out during launch. They said around the launch date. And you guys can be excited for Miles. Like my most excited game of the PS5 is Ratchet and Clank. Like, it's so far ahead on my hype list that like that game looks incredible. I was expecting more, and it was actually really cool to see other projects. So we saw Miles, which seems good. It seems like a DLC. It reminds me a lot of Lost Legacy.
There's been a lot of confusion about if it's DLC or if it's a full game. They keep saying it's a full
I think it's
game,
Lost Legacy.
but
Did you play Lost Legacy?
But I'm like, yeah, no, like I'm saying, like, why would you not price it as a full game then if it's a full game?
But it is priced. It is priced as a full game, because Lost Legacy was also kind of priced as a full game. Because Lost Legacy,
it's actually priced. Okay, well, shows what I know.
Lost Legacy was $40, if I remember correctly, and it was about like a 9-hour game. So it was.
But like what's Miles priced at?
Miles is going to be 50, I think.
50.
Okay, so that's still not a full.
And
so that's
it's
still not a full game.
They said it will take you like 10 hours to beat it. I don't know if it's the story or if they're also counting like 100%ing the game, like finishing the
all the side stuff.
Yeah, the side missions.
Platinum,
Gotta grab them pigeons.
To me, it looked like Spider-Man, which I really liked. It was one of the best games I played in that year. It was no match for God of War, but that's just me. It was really good, and it looks exactly like Spider-Man, but with Miles now. And I'm really excited. I pre-ordered Miles and Demon Souls. They also showed Resident Evil, which looks incredible. I've not finished Resident Evil 7 yet because I'm kind of scared. But what I played from Resident Evil 7 is great. And I'm really excited to play Resident Evil 8, and it just looks brilliant. Demon Souls, Roman knows this. I'm not a huge fan of the Demon Souls Bloodborne world. Yeah. I did play Bloodborne, and I did play the first Demon Souls, and I do like both of them. I think both are very good games. But I was never like too high on it. That trailer alone, that gameplay alone made me hyped. I don't know how, but it made me hyped. And it looks like Bluepoint makes the best remakes. I don't care what anyone says. Bluepoint makes the best remasters I've ever seen. And Demon Souls looks incredible. We saw like they gave us a weird title card trailer for God of War and got me super hyped. Even Call of Duty, what they showed was cool, and I'm kind of tired of Call of Duty since like Advanced Warfare. Like to me, it was such a special showcase, and also they also know something that was really cool, and no one is talking, but it's so cool that on the launch day you're gonna get like what 30 games for free.
Yeah,
It's a
about
launch
25 to
Yeah,
30.
yeah,
Yeah,
30 games for free, and
Mhm.
those games are there's some games in there that are incredible. Like you have Last of Us, Uncharted, Persona 5, which I've never played, and I'm actually really
Yeah.
excited to be playing for
Me
the
too.
first time. Just Persona 5 alone, that's like what, like hundreds of hours of content there. Persona
Yeah.
is a huge game. I was so shocked when they actually had. You have Resident Evil 7, you have Days Gone, you have Horizon, you have Ratchet and Clank. If you have not played it, play Ratchet and Clank. There's so much content, and they're giving you for free. Okay, well, not for free. You have to have PS Plus, but it's so cool that they're allowing
Hundreds
everyone
of
to
hours for $10 a month. Like
Yeah.
hundreds.
it's
Yeah, and that's the thing.
even
Like
just
at this point, if you have a PlayStation, you have PS Plus. So
free. Yeah,
Yeah.
like everyone, most of the people have PS Plus, and PS Plus. I'm one of those defenders that actually thinks PS Plus is worth every month. There's some months that are questionable, but to me, PlayStation Plus as a whole is always worth. They gave us Fall Guys. They won 2020 already. Like it's the showcase to me was perfect. They did it in the most perfect way. They showed new titles. They showed titles that we hadn't seen enough. It was, to me, it was like the best showcase you could have done compared to what other companies are doing right now. Ubisoft Forward and Showcase. Like to me, it was that you gotta show your console. You gotta show what is going to be on your console, and they did it in the best way possible. If you think about it, a lot of the titles are going to be on launch release. I guess Deathloop was going to be on launch, but now it's been delayed. But to me, like I saw a lot of people say, yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. I thought it was great. Like there was no way, and the pricing is also very good. I think 500 for the
Yeah.
normal, 400 for the digital. Great pricing. People are saying, oh, the Xbox is cheaper. Yeah, but the Xbox digital version is also weaker than the PS5 digital version.
Yeah.
Like Roman was talking about the pre-orders, I actually agree with him. Like I think what Sony did was great. I actually said in my reaction, I actually said to Roz, would if Sony opened the pre-orders right after showcase, that would be actually a great marketing move. Like everyone
Mhm.
would run to get their PS5. It would be great. So I think the problem was the actual retail stores. Here in Portugal, it went smoothly because I don't know if nobody cares in Portugal about PlayStation, but like I saw, oh, the pre-orders are live. Cool. Let me pre-order my PS5. Oh, it's done. Great. I now I just have to wait for November. But I saw everyone like freaking out, and the GameStop. Sam actually like sent me a picture like his GameStop pre-order kept getting canceled and then not canceled. Like he said, oh no, there was a mistake. Your order is not canceled. And then no, your order is canceled. Sorry. Like it was such a
Yeah.
mess. But I think that's a problem of retailers. They couldn't handle like the pre-order launch. I guess like it's
Yeah.
most of their fault. I don't know how Xbox went. You said Xbox kind of fumbled.
Well, okay, so like GameStop, for example, they had a queue. They were like, if you got into this page at this time, you're gonna be in a queue, and then when it's your turn, you can make your pre-order. But the page automatically refreshes every 30 seconds. So like you weren't actually in a proper queue. And then one of our mutuals, Josh Finney, big Xbox guy, always commenting on games and stuff on Twitter. He said it was just kind of a mess too. And so IGN was saying it was a mess, but that's gonna happen. People are like
Yeah, it's
all of
expected.
a sudden shocked that online shopping is difficult when there's a bunch of people overloading a server for a console. Like it's just weird to me. But also at the same time, Xbox, you know how people were upset that like GameStop's only got like 14 PS5 consoles, like 2 digital or 4 digital. Like Xbox got less. GameStop got less Xbox consoles, and it was like, so I don't know. I feel like everyone's like freaking out over something that should have been expected. Like we
Yeah,
forget what happened 7 years ago with PS4 and Xbox One.
this always
Like it
happens.
just, yeah, it always happens. It's an expectation, especially when you're doing it online. Obviously, a lot of people don't want to do it in store. Some states this, some states that. But I don't know. It met my expectations. It was frustrating, but I spent my $430 and I'm ready to go. Bring out November 12th. So
Right.
And also talking about what I said, which the Shadow launch, I
Mhm.
think PlayStation on will launch on launch date factions, which if you don't know about faction is basically a great super underrated multiplayer mode from The Last of Us first game, and The Last of Us 2 was supposed to have factions coming out uh, with Last of Us 2, but they had to delay it because they needed to focus on one game to meet the launch uh, the launch date. So like they
yeah,
had to delay it, and ever since they delayed it, they said they have given us no information whatsoever about it. But there's been a lot of leaks of the game being almost done. There's actually confirmation, like actual footage of people playing factions on the PS4, and there was apparently a guy that worked with Naughty Dog, and he said they are preparing it to have it for the PS5 uh, release, like as a special thing for free, because it is faction is going to be free. So that's even another title that PlayStation will probably have on their launch, which to me is insane. Now that I think about it, PlayStation is having like what at least confirmed four launch titles that are actually exclusive. They have Sackboy Run, which some people will care, I guess. They have something about cars. There's something with cars, Destroy All something, All
yeah.
Stars.
Destroy All
It's a
Humans.
car game, I think. But
Oh.
it's an exclusive. They have Demon Souls, which seems pretty much exclusive to PlayStation, and Miles. That's four exclusive titles that you can only
Hmm.
play on PlayStation. To me, that's insane. Xbox had Halo, and now has nothing. Uh, like to me, PlayStation is handling these next generations so much better than Xbox, in my opinion. Yes, Xbox has the Game Pass, but to me, everything PlayStation has done so far really makes me happy, because I was getting kind of worried with COVID, everything would just fall apart, and like they will they will be
They're
kind of
handling the
forced.
transition so well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought it would like be kind of forced to go to the PS5,
Yeah.
because now like, oh, time is up, you gotta release the PS5. So they're like, okay, here's the PS5, go take it. We'll release games when we can. Like, no, but they actually have a strong lineup. They kind of have a game for everyone. I guess Sackboy is more of a childish game, so they have a
Mhm.
game for kids. They have Demon Souls, which is a more mature game. They have Spider-Man, which is a game for everyone. There's
Hmm.
Mhm.
everyone can appreciate Miles. PlayStation is handling so well, and maybe I'm biased because I do love PlayStation, but I don't know. Like to me, out of everything that's happening with everything is happening in the world and in gaming industry, I think PlayStation is going on like the best direction that they could have gone
Yeah.
with the next gen.
Mhm.
So time is running out. As always, we have we have dedicated the last few minutes of the podcast on a title that we are currently playing or we've played before and we think should be mentioned. So, Matt, what's your recommendation? Please don't tell me it's another Dragon Age game.
Of course,
So,
it's another Dragon Age game.
thank God.
No, I, dude, I said I was gonna replay all the games.
So,
So I
Mass Effect
finished
1 is
last
great.
week. I finished the first Dragon Age Origins, and like I was like talking about like how like to my shock I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I did like when I played it years ago. And Dragon Age 2, which is a game that I really didn't enjoy when I first played it, like God, it came out in like 2011 or something. I'm playing it now and I'm like, wait, what the heck? This is actually way more fun than I remembered it being. Because like a big criticism was it was way too closed in. It's true, they do reuse a lot of areas to the point where like it's the same in the mini map and you just can't open the door. It's like incredibly lazy. So that does still really suck. And it shows how time constrained they were. But the actual idea is really cool. Like you're this refugee who enters this city, and the game spans over 10 years as you make your
Hmm.
way through like the ranks of that city, and you have a very close group of friends who stay with you. Some of them can die, some of them can leave you. And like I'm like about think I just finished the first act, and like I just kind of made a name for myself. And there's something, I think, something good about how closed in the area is, because you become very intimate with it. And if they had just, I think, been given a little more time to like flesh out the area, because they're very like bare bones. So like I would have thought that like if you're gonna focus in on one area, because it's one city, that like you would make the city a bit more vibrant, even if it's 2011. But like the actual basic structure of the game, I think is really, it's pretty solid. Like I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying most of the characters. I think that game kind of has a bad rap, like because of people like me. So I don't know. I'm pretty surprised at how much I'm enjoying it. I was kind of like thinking like, I'll probably just skip through it or whatever, but I've been genuinely enjoying it, much to my surprise. So, yeah.
Roman, you want to go?
It's kind of tough right now just because I'm kind of just trying to grind out some games and keep my mind focused so I don't buy Tony Hawk because PlayStation 5 is coming out. I don't need to be buying any games, getting ready to move out.
Mm-hmm.
Joanne has been wanting a new game, so I bought her Breath of the Wild. She's been wanting to play that. It's her first Zelda experience. It was my first Zelda experience, so I'm really excited to go on that journey with her. It's always funny watching someone play video games that doesn't play video games often and have to get used to moving the camera and doing combat. And the way she reacts in games is a huge blast. So on that front, that's going to be pretty exciting. But for myself, I've also been getting ready to finish Sekiro here shortly. I got a couple bosses left, a couple parts left. I went on my Dark Souls journey by finishing Dark Souls 2 at the start of the year, and then I just boom, 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 boom. My controller survived, my brain survived, my console survived, and now we're on Sekiro, which I dropped initially when I first started, and I am really happy I came back to it. I feel like if anyone wants to get into Sekiro and you're not familiar with Souls, Ghost of Tsushima is a really good starting point because it has a very similar combat style in terms of like how the I forget what the terminology is right now, but how you have to defend and you have to block before you can attack, and you have to be smart about how you're gonna go in and slice your sword, cut the dude in half, whatever. Obviously, it's Souls-like, so you know it's a bit of a grind, and you got to be I'm pretty smart and pretty dedicated. And try and keep your sanity wrapped in your head. On the indie forefront, I purchased about a couple of weeks ago Enter the Gungeon, which I believe is another Devolver Digital game. I could be wrong about that, but if that's the case, they make really fun games. They're so consistent. It's obviously a dungeon crawler with guns, and you're just these little being people running around shooting monsters, which seems to be the wave right now between Among Us, Fall Guys, and a bunch of other indie games as well. But it's been a blast to try to kind of just go back and forth between my grinding on sports games, playing Sekiro and having fun, just losing my mind and my heart falling out of my chest, and then just playing something as fun and simple as Fall Guys and Enter the Gungeon. So that's what I got going on right now till November.
Yeah, actually, my girlfriend loves like Binding of Isaac, which is pretty similar to Enter the Dungeon. And then I told her like, oh, you should get Enter the Dungeon. It's a everyone loves that game. And like, what's it about? It's like, okay, so I think you basically go through a lot of dungeons, and when you die, you have to restart all over. She's like, okay, no, I don't want it, because she's gonna get pissed because if she dies, she's gonna have to start all over again. I've been playing also a few titles. I played Call of Duty Alpha, which was really disappointing, but I'll talk about that in any other video that I recorded. I've been trying to play Mario, but my copy isn't here, so I can't talk about that yet. I've played a lot of games this year, and of course, my favorite one is still undefeated Last of Us 2. I don't think any game this year can top that. But one game that did come close, and I played this year, and I adored it, was Hollow Knight. So basically, Hollow Knight is basically also kind of a dungeon crawler. It's basically, imagine a 2D Dark Souls game. That's Hollow Knight, basically. Yeah. And I actually think from the, like, okay, it's not harder than Dark Souls, but it is harder, in my opinion, than Bloodborne, for example. I think Bloodborne is like one of the out of the two Dark Soul type games I played, it's the easiest one, and like, but my favorite part about Hollow Knight is it's hard, but it's fair. Like when you lose, you know
Yeah.
you lost because it's your fault. It's like usually when I lose, I always love to blame the game. It's unfair. It's unfair. But Hollow Knight really makes you feel like, okay, this is where I did like the wrong thing. So like, I should have gone this way, not this way. I should have been more patient here and there. That's what I love about Hollow Knight. It makes you really rethink your strategy and rethink the way you play the game, because every enemy, every boss, it's different. So you gotta adapt when you're gonna fight them. And to me, that's so cool. I love the art style. It's kind of cute, but at the same time, kind of creepy. uh, it's
Yeah.
just an incredible game that I really think everyone should try it out. It's usually like on sale constantly for like $7. You can get it uh, for that as low as like $7. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. I really, really, really like recommend everyone to try it out. The difficulty might put you off at first, but I swear to God, you need to die at least twice in a boss to actually beat it. Like there's no way, there's no boss I faced that I didn't die at least twice, because you need to die so you can learn the boss mechanics and moves, so you can beat it next time you play it. There's one boss that's basically a mantis, and you start off by fighting one, but then the dude multiplies into three. So there's three mantis you gotta fight off. They're ridiculously hard, but after a while of like learning their move set and learning their skill set, it was easier to beat it and actually felt rewarding to me. And that's something I love when a game makes me feel like, okay, I'm better than you now. Great, I can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
recommendation. So
cool.
okay, that's a wrap on our first episode. I think Matt and I always plug the same thing, which is subscribe to Just Gaming.
Yeah.
But Roman, do you have something you want to plug?
Obviously, yeah, just keep tuning in to Just Gaming. It's a pretty cool community that,
Let's go.
you know, you started up a while ago, and it's definitely one of the only tolerable gaming, you know, places. You know, it's pretty condensed right now. But
Yeah.
I feel like once it gets bigger, you know, obviously you got to kind of weed out the crap. But
Mhm.
no, yeah, you know, thanks for having me on. You know, it's kind of just I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, I really want to talk about games because I've been mostly playing games recently. And I was like, well, I know they got a podcast going, so I'm gonna shoot
Mhm.
my shot. And I shot my shot, and here I am.
Yeah, man.
But
Our 40 subscribers are pretty exclusive. You better. You're lucky you got in, man.
Yeah, man.
but
We have a long list.
yeah, nothing, nothing much else to plug. You know, I write when I can write. You know, it's been pretty hectic. I'm moving around a lot. I'm getting ready to move in, start a new job, so lots going on right now. So I'm just trying to take it easy when I can and just spend the rest of my day off playing some video games. So, yeah, just keep tuning in, and I'm sure I'll be around. So
Cool.
thank you for having
Yeah.
me on.
No,
Awesome.
I will link in the description. Roman does have a website where he writes up movies reviews because he's a big critic, a movie critic.
Thanks.
He
Yeah.
also has a podcast, Movie Wise, and we also
Yeah.
we'll link it here.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's all for this next episode. We'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to Just Gaming.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.